good everyone. I'm going to discuss about the teaching poetry and dramatic poetry. So before we start our discussion, we will define first the poetry to have a knowledge about poetry. So what is poetry? Poetry is a form of literature that utilizes language in a creative and imaginative way to evoke emotions and ideas in the reader. So, poetry is a type of literary art that uses the aesthetic and often rhythmic aspects of language to elicit meanings in addition to or in substitutes of literal surface level interpretations. Any specific instance of poetry is referred to as a poem written by a poet. Poetry is from the Greek word poein, what means to make. Poetry is a type of literature that expresses ideas, feelings, or tells a story in a specific form. It uses a formal organization and often divided up into lines or stanzas. It refers to something beautiful. There are three main kinds of poetry: narrative, dramatic, and lyrical. But we will focus about the teaching poetry and dramatic poetry. Teaching poetry effectively requires create an environment where students can appreciate the beauty of poetry. It is important to engage students' emotion and imagination when reading poems. Teachers should model expression when reciting poems and encourage students to recite poems aloud. Poem teaching poetry effectively entails more than just reading and reading poems aloud. It also entails developing a profound respect and comprehension of poetic language, structure, and meaning. Successful strategies incorporate a variety of approaches to engage students and develop their critical thinking and creative writing abilities. Teaching poetry entails more than just simply reading poems aloud. It also entails developing a throughout grasp and appreciation for poetic language, shapes, and meaning. For the next slide, here's some of the benefits of teaching poetry: develop and strong reading comprehension. So it enhances developing good reading comprehension abilities in poetry education, necessitates a diversified strategies that goes beyond simply reciting to a deeper meaning and analysis. The second one, boosts critical thinking skills. Teaching poetry requires going beyond surface level learning and pushing students to actively study, interpret, and evaluate the work. The third one, encourage creativity in poetry. Instruction necessitates moving beyond rote memorization and analysis and instead creating a lively, exploratory environment in which students can actively engage with the art form. The fourth, the fourth one, foster appreciation. Fostering a love for poetry in pupils include more than just grasping meaning. It also entails cultivating an emotional connection and a sense of wonder. So the next slide, dramatic poetry, a form of poetry that is written in a verse and meant to be recited in a public or act out. Dramatic poetry is often in the form of long speeches, either to another actor, the audience, or oneself by musing aloud. Dramatic poetry is a type of poetic composition composed in a dramatic style, consisting of dialogue between characters, monologues, and soliloquies. soliloquies that convey a tale or idea through dramatic action rather than description or narrative exposition. This style of poetry originated in ancient Greece, where it was frequently employed in theatrical performance and religious festival to convey the stories of gods and heroes. Shakespeare also used it in his plays, such as Romeo and Juliet, where the character used poetic language to communicate their emotion and relay narrative points. The closet dramas are plays that have been written to be read but not performed. Their value is in the play itself, not in the performance of the play. A closet drama or closet play is a play created primarily for reading rather than production. Closet dramas are traditionally defined in narrower terms as belonging to a genre of dramatic writing unconcerned with stage technique. The next one is dramatic monologue. So, dramatic monologue refers to a type of poetry. These poems are dramatic in the sense that they have a theatrical quality, that is, the poem is meant to be read to an audience. To say that the poem is monologue means that these are the words of one solitary speaker with no dialogue coming from any other characters. A combination of drama and poetry presents the specific on a single character in a specific situation at a critical moment. The speakers personal his sense of value and attitudes towards life are directly gleaned from his monologue. Rhyme verse a rhyme verse in dramatic poetry serves as several crucial functions, enhancing its dramatic effect and impact the overall experience for the reader. However, the use of rhyme in dramatic poetry is not always consistent or predictable. Its presence and styles depend heavily on the specific poem and the poet's intention. A rhyming couplet is two lines in the same length. The rhyme is incomplete one thought. There is no limit to the length of lines. Rhyming words are words that sound the same when spoken. So that's all for my report. Thank you for watching.